Here's a question that haunts every trader who's ever blown a live account. How did I make 40% in 3 months on demo, but lose 20% in 6 weeks with real money? Same strategy, same market, same setups, completely different results. If you think this is about your strategy being flawed, you're looking in the wrong place. A study from the University of Cambridge tracked 2,500 traders transitioning from demo to live accounts. Within the first month, 68% showed significant performance deterioration, not because they forgot how to trade, because real money activated parts of their brain that demo trading leaves completely dormant. Today, I'm going to show you the exact neurological and psychological mechanisms that make you a different trader the moment real money is at risk. Why your demo account success is actually setting you up for live account failure. And most importantly, the specific protocol professional trading firms use to bridge this gap that almost no retail trader knows about. Meet two traders who started their journey at the same time. Alex crushed his demo account, turned $10,000 into $17,000 in 4 months. Clean execution, perfect discipline. He felt ready. He deposited real money, and within 2 months, he was down $2,800. He's confused, frustrated, questioning everything. Then there's Nina. Her demo results were decent, but not spectacular, up $3,200 over the same 4 months. But she did something different before going live. She deliberately made her demo trading uncomfortable. When she transitioned to real money, her results actually improved. She's up $4,100 in 3 months of live trading. What's the difference? Alex thought demo trading was practice for live trading. Nina understood that demo trading, done normally, is practice for nothing. It trains skills that don't transfer. It creates confidence that evaporates the moment real capital is at risk. Alex optimized for demo performance. Nina optimized for psychological transferability. And in trading, what transfers to real money conditions is all that matters. Let's start with what's actually happening in your brain when you switch from demo to live. This isn't about willpower or discipline. This is about fundamental differences in how your brain processes decisions when the outcomes are hypothetical versus when they're real. Neuroscientists using fMRI scans have studied people making financial decisions with play money versus real money. When the money is hypothetical, decision-making primarily activates the prefrontal cortex, the rational analytical part of your brain. You're processing information logically, evaluating probabilities, making calculated decisions. The moment real money enters the equation, everything changes. Now you get massive activation in the amygdala, your brain's fear center, and the nucleus accumbens, your reward processing center. These are ancient emotional parts of your brain that evolved to keep you alive, not to make you profitable. Your prefrontal cortex is still active, but it's now competing with powerful emotional signals that simply weren't present during demo trading. Alex on his demo account sees a trade setup. His brain calmly evaluates, this matches my criteria. The risk reward is appropriate. I'll take it. Clean, rational decision making. He enters. The trade goes against him briefly, then recovers and hits his target. Throughout the trade, his emotional state remains stable. It's just numbers on a screen representing hypothetical money. Alex on his live account sees the same setup. His brain now has additional inputs. This is $500 of my real money. If this loses, that's $500 I earned at my job. Gone. That's money I could use for rent, for food, for anything real. His amygdala is firing. His heart rate increases slightly. He hesitates. Maybe this isn't the best setup. Maybe I should wait for a better one. He skips it. The trade would have won. Next setup appears. He takes it, but he's already emotionally compromised from skipping the previous winner. This trade goes against him briefly, the same kind of temporary adverse movement he experienced hundreds of times in demo without concern. But now, watching real money disappear, even temporarily, his amygdala screams danger. He exits prematurely at a small loss. The trade would have recovered and hit target just like it did countless times in demo. This isn't weakness. This is neurology. Your brain literally processes demo trading and live trading in different regions with different priorities. Demo trading is processed as a game, a puzzle, an intellectual exercise. Live trading is processed as a threat to your resources, activating survival mechanisms that override rational analysis. Research by Dr. Wolfram Schultz on dopamine and decision making shows that the anticipation of real rewards or real losses creates dopamine fluctuations that fundamentally alter risk assessment. When Alex was demo trading, his dopamine system was quiet. No real reward at stake, no significant dopamine response. His risk assessment remained stable and rational. In live trading, every position creates dopamine anticipation. Will this make me money? Will this lose my money? This anticipation doesn't just make you feel different. It literally changes which information your brain prioritizes. You become hyper aware of anything that threatens your position. You see danger everywhere. Patterns that you ignored in demo as normal noise now look like signals that you're wrong. Nina understood this neurological switch was inevitable. So during her demo phase, she didn't just practice her strategy. She practiced activating her amygdala deliberately to train herself to make decisions while emotionally activated. More on exactly how she did that in a moment. Here's the second massive difference between demo and live trading: consequences. On demo, there are no real consequences to your decisions. This seems obvious, but the psychological implications run deeper than most traders realize. When there are no consequences, your brain's decision-making becomes theoretical. You can take risks you should take according to your strategy without feeling the weight of those risks. You can hold through drawdowns because there's nothing real at stake. You can follow your rules perfectly because breaking them doesn't cost you anything tangible. Alex on demo had a rule: risk 2% per trade, no exceptions. He followed this rule flawlessly for 4 months. Why? Because breaking it had no consequence. If he violated his rule and lost, he just reset the demo account. There was no pain associated with rule violation. So following rules was easy. Alex on live account has the same rule: risk 2% per trade. He takes a trade risking 2%, which is $400 on his $20,000 account. The trade goes against him, and he's down $320, approaching his stop. His brain now contemplates real consequences. If I let this hit my stop, I lose $400. That's real money gone forever. But if I move my stop and give it more room, maybe it comes back and I don't lose anything. He moves his stop to 3%, risking $600 instead of $400. This is a rule violation he never would have made in demo, because in demo, there was no emotional pressure. The consequence vacuum of demo trading allowed perfect rule adherence. The consequence reality of live trading creates enormous pressure to violate rules to avoid painful outcomes. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called the hot-cold empathy gap. When you're in a cold state, emotionally neutral, you cannot accurately predict how you'll behave in a hot state, emotionally activated. Alex in his calm demo trading couldn't predict that he'd move stops under the emotional heat of watching real money disappear. He thought, I follow my rules. But he only followed his rules in cold states. Nina addressed this by deliberately creating consequences during demo trading. She made a rule. Every time she violated her trading rules on demo, she had to donate $50 of real money she disliked. Suddenly, rule violations in demo had real consequences. Her brain couldn't treat it as purely hypothetical anymore. When she was tempted to move a stop on demo, she had to weigh it against donating $50 to something she didn't want to support. This sounds gimmicky, but it's brilliant from a psychological perspective. She was training her brain to make decisions under consequence pressure while still in the safety of demo. When she went live, her brain already had experience making rule-based decisions while emotionally activated. The transition was much smoother because she'd bridged the consequence gap. The consequence vacuum also affects learning. In demo, you can learn bad habits without punishment. Alex occasionally revenge traded on demo after losses. Sometimes these revenge trades won. His brain learned, when I'm frustrated and take an impulsive trade, sometimes it works out. This intermittent reinforcement made revenge trading psychologically rewarding. In live trading, revenge trades still sometimes work. But now when they lose real money. The psychological pain is much higher. Alex is now trapped. His brain has learned that revenge trading can provide relief from frustration, but it's also experiencing real pain when it doesn't work. This creates enormous internal conflict that didn't exist in the consequence-free demo environment. Let's talk about something that completely changes between demo and live: pressure. On demo, there's no pressure. You're not trying to make rent from your trading profits. You're not trying to prove to yourself or others that you can do this. You're not feeling the weight of previous losses that you need to recover. Demo trading happens in a pressure-free vacuum. Alex on demo was relaxed. If he lost today, there was always tomorrow. If this trade didn't work, he'd take the next one. His emotional state was neutral to positive throughout his demo period. This emotional stability allowed excellent decision-making. His prefrontal cortex, the rational part of his brain, was in full control. Alex on live account has pressure. He quit his part-time job to focus on trading, so now he needs this to work. He's told friends and family he's a trader now. He's deposited money he saved over 2 years. Every loss feels like he's wasting his savings and proving his doubters right. His emotional state ranges from anxious to stressed to desperately hopeful. This emotional volatility corrupts his decision-making. There's research showing that stress hormones, particularly cortisol, impair the prefrontal cortex's functioning while amplifying the amygdala's influence. Under pressure, you literally become dumber and more emotional. Alex under demo conditions was operating with full cognitive capacity. Alex under live trading pressure is operating with compromised cognitive capacity due to elevated cortisol from the stress of needing his trading to succeed. This pressure also creates urgency. On demo, Alex had infinite time. He could wait for the perfect setup. If a week passed without any trades, that was fine. On live account, Alex feels urgency. I need to make money. I can't just sit here doing nothing. I need to find trades. This urgency makes him take marginal setups he would have skipped on demo. Nina understood that pressure was the missing ingredient in demo trading, so she created artificial pressure. She told her trading accountability partner, "I'm demo trading for 3 months. At the end of each month, if I'm not up at least 5%, I have to write you a check for $200. Suddenly, her demo trading had pressure. She needed to perform. This wasn't life-changing money, but it was enough to activate stress responses. Now when she faced a string of losses on demo, she felt actual pressure. I need to get back to profitable or I'm writing a $200 check. This pressure created cortisol elevation, which meant she was practicing decision-making under hormonal conditions similar to live trading. When she transitioned to live trading, the pressure increased, but it wasn't a completely foreign experience. She'd already made trading decisions while stressed, while feeling urgency, while experiencing the discomfort of needing to perform. The gradient from demo to live was manageable rather than a cliff edge. Pressure also affects patience. Alex on demo could hold trades for days waiting for targets. Time didn't matter. On live account, holding a trade for days means days of anxiety, days of checking his phone, days of emotional discomfort. He starts closing trades early just to relieve the psychological burden of having open positions. His average winner drops from 2.2R on demo to 1.1R on live, purely because he can't tolerate the psychological discomfort of holding under pressure. The attention paradox. Here's something counterintuitive. You pay more attention to your live trades than your demo trades, and that extra attention destroys your performance. This is the attention paradox. More attention creates worse results. Alex on demo would enter a trade, set his stop and target, and check it maybe twice before it closed. He trusted his analysis. He trusted his plan. There was no emotional need to monitor constantly because nothing real was at stake. Alex on live account enters a trade and suddenly can't stop checking it. He looks at it 20 times in the first hour. He's checking on his phone at dinner, in the bathroom, before bed. He's not gathering new information. The chart looks the same as it did 10 minutes ago. He's seeking emotional reassurance or trying to avoid the anxiety of not knowing what's happening. This constant monitoring has 2 devastating effects. First, it exposes him to normal market noise that he needs to ignore. Every small move against him triggers anxiety. Every pause in movement toward his target creates doubt. In demo, he didn't experience this noise because he wasn't watching obsessively. In live trading, he's experiencing every tick's emotional impact. Second, constant monitoring creates more decision points. Every time he looks at a trade, his brain asks, should I do something about this? Even if the answer is no, He's using mental energy and willpower. By the 20th time checking, his decision fatigue is high and his willpower is depleted. That's when he makes impulsive decisions, moving stops, closing early, adding to losers. Research from Duke University on decision fatigue shows that decision quality deteriorates as you make more decisions throughout the day. Alex on demo made maybe 10 meaningful decisions per trade. Do I take this setup and do I close now or wait? On live account, he's making that do I close now or wait decision 20 times before the trade reaches its conclusion. By decision 15, his decision quality is significantly impaired. Nina addressed this through what she called attention discipline. During demo trading, she practiced taking trades and then deliberately not checking them. She'd set alerts for when price reached her stop or target and close her platform. She trained herself to be comfortable with the uncertainty of not knowing what her trades were doing in real time. When she went live, this habit transferred. She could enter a trade and not obsess over it because she'd practiced not obsessing during demo. The transition didn't create a new behavior of constant monitoring because she'd already trained the opposite behavior. The attention paradox also affects your perception of the strategy's effectiveness. Alex on demo saw his strategy work cleanly. Enter, wait, exit at target. On live account, because he's watching every movement, he sees all the messy in between. The times price almost hit his stop before reversing. The times it reached 90% of target before pulling back. This additional information doesn't make him a better trader. It makes him doubt his strategy because he's seeing variation that was always there, but that he was blind to during demo. The identity shift. Here's something most traders never consider. Demo trading allows you to maintain an identity as someone learning to trade. Live trading forces you to confront your identity as a trader. This identity shift creates enormous psychological pressure. Alex on demo could tell people, I'm learning to trade, or I'm practicing on a demo account. There's no judgment in that. Learning implies you're not supposed to be good yet. Practicing implies you're preparing, not performing. His ego was safe. Losses on demo didn't threaten his self-image because he wasn't claiming to be a successful trader yet. Alex on live account has to internally and externally adopt the identity of trader. He's risking real money. If he's not a competent trader, what is he? What's he doing risking his savings? Every loss now isn't just money. It's evidence against his identity as a skilled trader. His ego is fully engaged. His self-worth is now connected to his trading results. This identity pressure makes losses psychologically devastating. A loss on demo was just practice. A loss on live account is evidence that maybe he can't do this. Maybe he's not cut out for trading. Maybe his friends were right that this was a bad idea. The same objective loss, a trade that hits stop loss, carries 100x the psychological weight because it threatens his identity. Research in social psychology shows that when your identity is threatened, you engage in defensive behaviors to protect your self-image. Alex starts rationalizing losses. The market did something unusual. That broker widened spreads. That news event was unpredictable. He's protecting his identity as a competent trader by externalizing blame. This prevents learning because he's not honestly assessing what went wrong. Nina handled this differently. During her demo phase, she started telling people, I'm a trader practicing on demo, not learning to trade, but a trader. She adopted the identity before going live. When people asked how it was going, she'd honestly discuss both winners and losers. She got comfortable having the identity of trader without that identity being dependent on every trade being successful. When she went live, her identity didn't suddenly shift. She was already a trader. The only thing that changed was her account type. Losses didn't threaten her identity because her identity wasn't trader who never loses. It was trader who follows a process that includes both wins and losses. The identity shift also affects risk-taking. Alex on demo would take every valid setup. His identity wasn't on the line. On live account, he becomes selective in ways that hurt him. He skips valid setups that feel slightly uncertain because if they lose, that's evidence against his competence. He's trying to preserve his identity by only taking sure things, which don't exist in trading. Nina takes every valid setup on live account, just like she did on demo, because a losing trade doesn't threaten her identity. Her identity is, I follow my process, not, I only take winning trades. This identity framing, process-focused rather than outcome-focused, makes the demo to live transition psychologically sustainable. Here's what almost no retail trader does, but what every professional trading firm implements: a graduated transition protocol. You don't go from demo to full-size live trading in one jump. You create a bridge. Professional firms typically move traders through stages. Stage 1, standard demo trading. You're learning your strategy, proving it has edge, developing basic execution skills. Stage 2, consequence-enhanced demo. This is where Nina's approach comes in. You add real consequences to demo trading. Every rule violation costs you real money donated to charity, or you put money at stake based on monthly performance. The point is to activate emotional systems while still in the safety of demo. Stage 3, micro-live trading. You go live with tiny position sizes, maybe 10% of your intended size. The money is real, but small enough that losses don't create crippling anxiety. You're training your brain to process real money decisions without overwhelming emotional activation. Stage 4, progressive sizing. As you demonstrate consistent execution at micro size, you gradually increase position size, maybe 10% of full size for 3 months, then 25% for 3 months, then 50%, then 75%, finally reaching full size after you've proven psychological consistency. Alex jumped from demo straight to full-size live trading. His brain went from zero emotional activation to maximum emotional activation overnight. The gap was too large. He couldn't bridge it. Nina spent 1 month on consequence-enhanced demo, then 3 months trading live at 20% of her intended position size, then 3 months at 40%, then 3 months at 70%. By the time she reached full size, her brain had gradually adapted to each level of emotional intensity. There was no cliff edge, just a gradual slope she could climb. Here's what happens during micro-live trading that's so valuable. You discover your psychological breaking points at low cost. Nina found that she started experiencing significant anxiety at position sizes above a certain threshold. When she was risking $40 per trade, 20% of her full $200 intended risk, she was calm. When she increased to $80, 40% of full size, she noticed her decision-making degrading. She was checking trades more often. She was feeling tempted to close winners early. This was invaluable information. She knew that her current psychological capacity topped out around $60, $70 per trade risk. So she stayed at that level longer, letting her psychology adapt before increasing size. By the time she reached $200 risk per trade, her psychology had grown into it gradually. There was no sudden shock. Alex had no idea what his psychological capacity was because he never tested it progressively. He went straight to $500 risk per trade and discovered, at high cost, that his psychology couldn't handle it. By the time he realized he needed to trade smaller, he'd already lost significant capital and his confidence was shattered. The graduated protocol also includes psychological checkpoints. Nina had clear criteria at each stage. I need to demonstrate 90 days of rule-adherent trading at this position size before moving to the next level. If she violated rules or showed psychological degradation, she stayed at the current level or even dropped back down. This prevented her from progressing faster than her psychology could adapt. Professional firms are ruthless about this. If a junior trader shows psychological issues at one level, they don't get to advance to larger size until they've demonstrated psychological consistency. It's not about P&L. You can be profitable while having psychological issues. It's about execution quality. Are you following your process consistently? Are you making decisions rationally? If not, you don't get to trade larger, even if you're currently making money. Bridging the psychological gap. Let's get practical about specific techniques you can implement right now to bridge the demo to live psychological gap. Technique 1. Emotional state logging. During demo trading, before every trade, rate your emotional state. 1, completely calm, to 10, highly anxious or excited. Log this. When you go live, continue logging. You'll discover that your emotional state during demo was probably 1 to 3 consistently. During live trading, it might be 5 to 8. This awareness alone helps you recognize when you're making decisions in different emotional states than you practiced. Technique 2. Activation training. Before taking demo trades, deliberately activate your amygdala. Watch a tense scene from a movie. Think about something stressful. Get your heart rate up with exercise. Then take the trade while emotionally activated. You're practicing making rational decisions while emotional systems are engaged, exactly what you'll need in live trading. Technique 3. Force discomfort. Make your demo trading uncomfortable. Give yourself a time limit. I have 90 days to achieve X on demo, or I have to wait another 90 days before going live. Create external accountability. Post your trades publicly so other people see your mistakes. The goal is to remove the consequence-free comfort of demo trading. Technique 4. The 10-25-50 protocol. Go live at 10% of your intended position size. Trade for 60 days. If you maintain execution quality, following all rules, making decisions calmly, increase to 25%. Another 60 days of quality execution, increase to 50%. This gradual progression lets your psychology adapt. Technique 5. Decision journaling. During demo, journal every decision. Why am I taking this trade? What's my confidence level? What would make me exit early? During live trading, journal the same decisions. Compare them. You'll see where your decision-making diverges under emotional pressure. That's where you need to build systems to keep your live decisions matching your demo logic. Technique 6. The negative visualization. Before going live, visualize losing money. Actually feel it. Imagine taking 5 losses in a row. Imagine your account down 10%. Sit with that discomfort during demo. You're building tolerance for negative outcomes before they happen with real money. When they inevitably occur live, your brain has already processed them. Nina used all of these. Alex used none. Nina's transition from demo to live was gradual and psychologically manageable. Alex's was an instant shock that his psychology couldn't absorb. Conclusion: demo is not practice for live. Let's bring this all together. The reason you trade better on demo than live isn't because you're bad at trading. It's because demo trading and live trading are neurologically, psychologically, and emotionally different activities. Practicing one doesn't prepare you for the other unless you deliberately bridge the gap. Demo trading activates your prefrontal cortex in a calm, analytical state. Live trading activates your amygdala and floods your system with stress hormones. Demo trading has no consequences, so rule following is easy. Live trading has real consequences, creating enormous pressure to violate rules to avoid pain. Demo trading has no pressure, allowing unlimited patience. Live trading has intense pressure, creating urgency and impatience. Alex thought demo success meant he was ready for live trading. He wasn't. He practiced a completely different activity than what live trading actually is. His skills didn't transfer because the conditions were completely different. Nina understood that demo trading, done normally, is practice for nothing. So she transformed her demo trading into practice for the psychological conditions she'd face live. She added consequences. She created pressure. She traded smaller live for extended periods. By the time she reached full-size live trading, her psychology had adapted gradually. Your demo results don't predict your live results. Your demo results under consequence pressure, emotional activation, and accountability might predict your live results. But standard demo trading, calm, consequence-free, pressure-free, has almost zero predictive value for live performance. My challenge to you: if you're still on demo, stop trying to optimize your P&L. Start optimizing for psychological stress testing. Add consequences to rule violations. Create pressure by putting something real at stake. Practice decision-making while emotionally activated. When you do transition to live, do it at 10 to 20% of your intended size and stay there for months until you prove you can maintain execution quality. If you're already live and struggling after demo success, drop your position size dramatically. Go back to micro live trading. You're not moving backward. You're building the psychological foundation you should have built before going to full size. Treat it as the graduated protocol it should have been from the start. The traders who succeed long-term aren't the ones with the best demo results. They're the ones who understood that demo trading and live trading are different games requiring different psychological preparation. They're the ones who built a bridge between the two rather than trying to leap across a gap. Stop asking, does my strategy work? Start asking, can I execute my strategy under the emotional, neurological, and psychological conditions of live trading? That's the only question that matters. Demo can't answer it unless you deliberately transform demo into a psychological stress test rather than a comfortable practice environment. The gap between demo and live is real. It's neurological, it's psychological. You can't willpower your way across it. But you can build a bridge with the graduated transition protocol. Most traders don't because it requires patience and humility, admitting you need to trade smaller for longer before you're psychologically ready for full size. Alex wanted to get to full size trading as fast as possible. He's now trying to recover from significant losses while his confidence is destroyed. Nina was willing to spend 9 months gradually transitioning from demo through progressive position sizing. She's now trading full size profitably with psychological confidence intact. One approach optimizes for speed, the other optimizes for psychological sustainability. In trading, psychological sustainability always wins. Always. Your demo success means you understand your strategy. It doesn't mean you're ready for live trading. Those are completely different things. Treat them as such.